So guys, I want to do this series online called Meet the Dancers. It's going to be a resource that we're going to give to the community.
It sounds so exciting, doesn't it?
Everyone has their own personality, don't they? Like,
I think it's because the
sort of go
energy.
together, like it doesn't look messy, but you're like...
I think it's because the energy you hold here, like, we're a team, but we're our own individual people at the same time.
So anyone watching the show who like wants to join us, what would you say to them that they need to come here?
Nothing. You don't need to be able to
get a heavy
dance.
grip.
No,
You
you
just
just
don't.
do you?
No.
Just need energy.
I started Meet the Dancers for a few reasons really. The first one was, as a business, we're 20 years old, so we evolved from MD Productions to MD Creatives, and so much has happened in that time that I wanted to celebrate. And with the pandemic, we've not been able to do like a big anniversary concert, but it was important for me to remember all the people who built this business first and foremost. You know, back in 2001 when we started, you know, those people, you know, worked blood, sweat and tears while I was developing as an artist and a creative practitioner and trying to understand business and be a social entrepreneur. So for me, it was about paying tribute to them and the journey that we'd been on, and then talking about where the style had come from and how I found the style, and then using 4 people who had been really part of that journey, past, present and future, and what have the transferable skills that they've gained and what have they gone on to do or currently doing now. And then also I think, you know, when I started this business I was like 22 or something. I'm almost 43 now, so for me, you know, dance, you can dance at any age, and I find a lot of people who used to dance, you know, think, oh, they're too old to go in the studio, or you might find people who have dance schools and they don't perform anymore. And for me, it was about making sure I was still able to get back into the studio and connect with what is happening in today's world, but also deliver in a way that was passionate to me. So it was important for that reason. I think that's why the basis of it came about, of Meet the Dancers, for all of them things. So guys, I want to do this series online called Meet the Dancers. It's going to be a resource that we're going to give to the community, but the idea will be to tie inside with our 20 years of MD. So each one of you has come into MD at a different time, and I feel like using a fair representation of who we are. The vision for it is that we will talk about what is your, we'll just keep going.
It sounds so exciting, doesn't it?
So we'll talk about
20 years though.
yeah. So we're 20 years old with no Botox. So 20 years old, so obviously a lot has happened that you guys have all been part of at different stages in our lives. So it's how we capture that, but also that we talk about our style, and obviously it's going to come from yous, because yous have obviously all been told by me, and then how we have expanded. So each one of yous bring a different flavour to who we are. So brand behind us, Doforo Technique, is now what we train in, but before it was ever a brand or anything else, yous were like blood, sweat and tears and in the studio. Like, so it's how I captured all of that. So my first feeling is that I want us to do a performance. So we haven't danced together in years. Some of us have never danced together, so obviously Jess has never danced with you. We haven't all been in a space together
still tiny,
for years, and I'd like to fuse all of our styles and everyone see us do a performance together. Whatever that looks like, I don't know yet, but it's how we fuse it all together. So the 3 that I picked, it was for a number of different reasons. So, you know, Rae and Georgia kind of came at roughly the same time. Maybe Georgia was in first, but Rae was older. Georgia was just a really young kid. Even though Rae was young when she came, Georgia was like in the kids class. And Rae, she was at that age where she was getting ready to move into being a company dancer. So I feel like at a starting point of like, we go to Rae, and so when you talk about some of them big iconic moments or them longer rehearsals, like Rae was part of that generation where I didn't really have many outside teachers or anything at that point, like, and she was in them long rehearsals with me, and she is very much of like the essence of that group who were around at that time, but she came with a skill set as well, and has gone on to do so many things. So it's absolutely amazing that I have Rae back in my life, not even just in this film. It's like she really takes it back to a ground and roots of where we were in MD.
I started MD when I was about, I'd say 9 or 10. And when I very first went, I just wasn't used to the style at all. I'd only done like textbook dance, let's say, like it was very technical. I'd done loads of ballet, and when I first went to MD, I think I had jazz pants on, which are like dead tight. I had my hair up in a pony, and when I walked in, I was thinking, oh my God, everyone's like wearing outside clothes, like street clothes. I didn't know really like what was going on. We were dancing to like dead funky music. I remember saying to Mum, I just don't think that's for me. So I didn't go back, and then it was a few weeks later, I went back again and then just never left. And it's mad because all my friends now, as like an adult, are all from MD. Like I don't have any other groups of friends. They're all just basically from dance. So from coming back as like a 9 and 10-year-olds, we've all grew up together till we're like 20 odd.
Georgia is just phenomenal. Like her journey, you have no idea of the person that, God, it makes me quite emotional. Like the person that she came was like so shy. Like, I don't even think I had that many conversations with Georgia. And like there was always older dancers. So as a group moved, and Georgia would come through, but she was never like, one of the older ones for so long, and it took me ages to probably accept that Georgia had grown older, because I'd seen it as just this little kid. But I remember when we were rehearsed in Studio 76, and there was a moment where she just started coming into her own and was really strong. I think she wanted to like be out there and be seen as a dancer at that point. And another reason why I wanted to use her is she's been loyal like through and throughout. In terms of like when other dancers have gone on and done other things, and that's great that people can do that, but she like stuck by us in some extremely challenging times. I'm forever grateful for it, and her mum and dad. And she started from that point, you know, she became the older dancer, and I started giving her classes to teach. She was the youngest person I took to Abu Dhabi in the first of year 1, and it was well deserved. Like, I really wanted to give her that place. She'd earned it, you know, for all of them years. And when you talk about someone who still dances for me now and has put that graft in of blood, sweat and tears, she's that person.
So when I started MD, it must have been around 12 years ago now, I was so shy, and to go in a room full of that many people, it was so daunting for me. And it was the studio next to the sofa shop, that's what we all used to call it. And I remember going in and I was like, oh my goodness, like these are all so good. Like I'm nowhere near as good as these. And I used to stand at the back and I'd just like panic, like, oh my God, someone's looking at me or someone's asked me a question. And then as my time's gone on, I feel like Miguel and everyone here has helped me like find myself, and I've become like a completely different person to what I think I would have been if I didn't start here. from going from not talking to anyone to having a whole group of new friends, like travelling the world, teaching classes and everything. It's just helped me with my confidence and my personal self so much.
And Jess, she came like a bolt of lightning, so we talk about the new. So I'm most proud of her journey that she came on from being at Rainford. I seen her teaching the class and I was like, she's going to dance and teach for me. I just knew. I made it my mission to get her to come along. And considering Jess wasn't really part of that early MD, she feels like she missed out a little. She was like, oh, what happened there? Or like all of that. But it's bizarre because she has it. She understands my style, why I dance. All of that without being part of an era where I've really been teaching that much or being in the sessions the way I used to teach them until recently. So for her to have, she's been like a sponge. She's like really, it's really admiring to see that she's took that on board. So I hear it in class and she talks about the Doforo technique or where it comes from. And it's amazing because she wasn't in the likes of Dernan Road where all that come from, but is greatly inspired by it. I definitely think because she's hugely inspired by Michael and Janet, she understands the concept of where dance comes from. And again, with herself, she's developing a uniqueness in when she performs. But I love when I'm listening outside of her classes, I always know that I'm going to go in, and even though she will have put her own spin on things, it's on MD brand.
When I found MD, I feel like MD found me. I was in school, and when you come to like year 9 or 10, I think it was year 9, because you don't do as much religious studies, you have like a red day, and it's like working on different things within like yourself and the community and different bits like that. And MD which was MD Productions back then, came in and did like this full day of workshops, and they did They Don't Care About Us, and I loved the whole time. They were like making t-shirts and different bits like that, and I absolutely loved it. I was like, who are these people, and I want to be involved. At the end of for the whole time, we had to perform at the end after we'd done these workshops. We had to perform in front of our whole year, and everyone was calling me a try-hard because I really wanted to do it, but I just really enjoyed it. Whatever they were showing me, I just wanted to be like involved in. At the end of the day, Miguel and I think it was like Lisa and Lauren and Zoe were like stood at the front, and I went over and I was like, hi, how'd you get into MD Productions? And Miguel literally just went, you just audition, and then went back to his phone, and I was like, he really doesn't want to know me. But no, it wasn't even that. Like, he'll laugh now looking back. And then there's like a few different times I didn't figure out how to get in. But in year 9, he seen me teaching a class, one of the classes. It was after school. I used to stay after school to teach the younger years. I had to stay in school to teach the younger years. I think I was teaching year 7 at the time, which is dead funny because now as the creative assistant, they're all in college, so I'm like basically teaching that year again, but just like later on. But I was teaching the year 7s, and Miguel came in and seen me teaching. I was teaching Beyonce at the time, Run the World, and no, it wasn't teaching End of Time. And he came in and he was like, where do you dance? And then from there, we put on a dance class in Rainford, and I just kept on, I kept on going and going to them classes. And then before I even knew it, I was all the way up in Liverpool. I used to travel like 2.5 hours on the bus just to dance in Liverpool. I used to finish school at like 3:15, and I'd be like run straight for the bus stop, the train station, get on there and go straight to dance. And I'd be in dance till like 10 o'clock, 11 at night, and I'd get back home, go to sleep at like 12 by the time I'd showered and prepped for the next day, and then was back in school after that. But yeah, I used to travel like 2.5 hours on the bus. I used to get on a bus from Rainford to the town centre, from the town centre all the way to Liverpool town centre, because we used to, when I first joined, we danced in the Gostins on Hanover Street in Liverpool town centre, and it was just like a raw space, and I think that's why I loved it so much, because everywhere else I've been growing up has been like, it's been like professional schools where the ballet bar and different bits like there, but you just walked in that room and you just felt the energy straight away, and it was like, yeah, we're here to dance. But it's been like a crazy journey from like when Miguel first met me in that little, well, in school, in that year 9 red day, to not even knowing who I was, to like this journey. It just like went on and on and on and on from there. Like looking back, it's crazy that like I'm now sat here with the likes of Miguel, even Miguel, Rae, who's been on BGT, and Georgia, the one I like idolised when I first came in, because she was the same age as me but was doing like amazing things. So it's just crazy for me to be in that position from when I met MD to where I am now.
So when the pandemic came and everything started moving online, I was like, oh, how's this all going to work? You know, because I was so used to being in a studio and that energy and connecting with people. And then I can't remember who I had the conversation with. I'm sure it was Denise, my business coach. And we were talking about my journey. And my whole journey and connecting with passion and being a performer had came through a screen. I'd never been to class in my life. I'd never been in a dance studio. Everything I knew and what I felt come from watching the likes of Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, James Brown, Madonna, Tina Turner, all of them people, mostly Michael, through a TV screen or a video. So I was really undermining the whole way that I was taught and learned, and felt the passion by saying, well, how's all this going to work online through a screen? So it was very much of a reality check of every bit of passion, ounce of it that I feel had come from watching the telly. So I had to go, well, it's the same thing when you're delivering online. It's a screen. And I'd also been in a session with Hope Uni. We were getting some mentor training. Now, I'd never met the mentor coach, but how she delivered was amazing. I felt like that. I knew her. So I was like, of course this works. And even if you take it to when you watch a film, like we'll all fall in love with the character or we'll go on an emotional journey. And this is the world that we live in. I think I was just being blinded to the fact that, oh, I don't have everyone in the studio, so how's this going to work? When actually it works really well. And I think throughout the pandemic, we've adapted loads. We've done so much stuff that's been online, or we've showcased our shows through YouTube and different platforms that we've never done before. We live streamed our classes, and what was really good was some dancers who haven't danced for us for ages, we could see them all popping up online. So it was like we were all in this virtual space together. So for me, it was then taking the positive of taking something online, and that's why I was excited to do Meet the Dancers online. So our performance as a group, what does anyone want any input? It's like what we're going to do?
Oh,
It needs to be fierce.
It's going to be unbelievable.
But we need to be like, when we're talking about that raw energy, like that raw fire, obviously that's going to be in that. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but I was just like,
Yeah, it's there.
Has anyone got any song ideas or?
Oh my god, I don't know. Something from Alive. Yeah, it's got to be
Yeah.
Alive.
Live.
It's got to be, I think
yeah.
it's got to be something with like,
It can't just
a
be
beat.
a song.
It's got to have a beat section.
Yeah, I can feel it in the
And it's
chest.
got, I feel like it's got to change a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Because to get
Maybe
our,
a bit of a
our
mix, like-
styles in it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
Or do we
something.
do a mix of something that's live or?
Yeah, you could do.
Like a
Can be some
medley.
venture in
I
there.
feel like-
Live medley.
I feel
or
like
something.
we should all like get in a room
I
together.
was just going to say, what do we feel the next process? Because this is alien to me. So everything I normally create, I'm on my own, or I'll go in the studio with the group and I'll say to you, use do an 8, use do, and then we'll fuse it all together. But I've never ever gone into a room bare bones with anyone. So even like when I'd gone in, most of the time I probably ever spent in the studio with anyone creatively would be Yaz or Tanya, but I always had a bare bones of the choreography, so I would have
Or even a song in mind.
the first verse, or even like some stuff I might have done with Alex Steele, like I'd have done a verse and then we'd have gone in and we might, so there'd have been like I've never gone into a space with
nothing.
What song are we doing, what's the choreography, what's the concept, so it's literally that normally for me as well, when I go into the studio, that's my own world, so that's when my time and I have my own time, so it's going to be bizarre to go in there and do that.
As a four.
Yeah,
Different.
process,
Yeah. I think it'd be good for us all to get in now and like figure it out together.
Maybe all come with like say 5 songs or 3, because that might be a bit.
Love that.
Yeah, a bit extra. 3-minute backup.
Should we just do a 2-hour show?
Oh, no!
Let's do it!
I remember Miguel was like, how long's the show, Miguel? And we were like, I don't know, we have to be out by 9 out because we physically couldn't be in the building any later. It's fine, we just won't have an interval. Sorry, what? Rae was in the song before the interval, that didn't happen, and the song after, so where does she get changed? But they're the things that you remember. You just get through. I'll have to miss the intro again because I'll be breathing in the wings.
Definitely. You know, I don't want to do anything like what we've done before.
No.
Yeah, and I'd like to just challenge ourselves and take it up a level. Obviously, as I said, it's a need for me to go in the studio with anyone, but how we take that fusion of like a bit of a reintroduction of like when we're back, so when we come in the studio, and as you talk about Abu Dhabi year 1 was probably the last time we worked of that intensity. Obviously I wasn't training when we done the 12-hour days, so that point was probably the last time I worked at that level, so it's how we like reintroduce and reset when we come back after lockdown of like, this is the level we should be working at, but it's how we up that in the performance to showcase that, and obviously fuse everyone's style in.
I feel like it's going to be a long piece.
I think it's going to be like
2 hours.
Yeah.
it's going to be a good few songs. So I was thinking, I want this song, I want it.
The full one, extended version.
Yeah, please.
The interlude.
The 10-minute one it is actually.
Yeah, the live
So
version's
yeah,
actually
what does
20
everyone
minutes.
think we should do next? Go away and listen to some
Song
songs, look at
ideas,
a
I think.
vibe that
Yeah, I think like we
And
should.
see what
Yeah.
mixes, like we all could all come back and we could have the same song
Yeah.
in like a section maybe, so that'll be like in or a part of it being.
Yeah.
Love a mix.
And we can have beats,
Yeah.
can't we?
Yeah. We can.
Yeah.
You can.
You've got the producers gone from the
Yeah.
creatives, they'll make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fab. That's the wrap.
Just